CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett is in Miami. Major, it seems like now, after every Trump rally, we wind up talking about something other than the candidate's policies. So this time around, it's Trump saying that President Obama is responsible for the creation of ISIS, that he's the founder of ISIS. And then there's this ironic twist where Mark Foley is sitting just behind Donald Trump as he is criticizing Hillary Clinton for having the father of the Orlando shooter sitting behind him. Is the campaign now getting used to this? Is this business as usual? Are they making an attempt to stop the mistakes before they actually happen?
Right. There was a concerted and visible effort last night to keep Trump on message. For the very first time, he had what could be best described as cue cards, placards that he held up for the audience that conveyed certain statistics, unfavorable ones from the Trump point of view, about the Obama economic record. Trump had never done that before, and it was obvious that his campaign literally gave him cue cards as if stagehands to say, hey, Mr. Trump, read this stuff. That way you can actually stay on message and possibly entertain and maybe even inform the crowd while you're at it. So that was definitely an attempt to put something in his hands to help him through the rally so he would stay on message. That was something we'd never seen before, and yet, even with the cue cards, even with these props, Trump wandered off into this sort of fever swamp about calling President Obama the founder of ISIS. And what he means by that, and it's a tortured argument in a historical sense, is that President Obama should never have removed all U.S. military forces from Iraq because Trump says that led to the rise of ISIS. What Trump leaves out of that story every single time is that negotiated troop withdrawal was negotiated not by President Obama, but by his predecessor, George W. Bush. That date and that status of forces agreement was put together by the Bush administration with the sitting Iraqi government. Now, there were many people at the time who said President Obama should have left a residual force of American military personnel. He decided not to. That was his choice, but the Iraqi government, it's worth pointing out, at that time was adamantly opposed to the continued presence in large numbers of U.S. military personnel. So to leave them there would have been to ignore the will of the Iraqi government, one that the United States was saying was perfectly legitimate. I know this is a lot of background, but it's important to this underlying message that Trump is sending, that Obama blundered by taking out all U.S. military personnel. Okay, that is an argument you can make, but you can't move from there to say he's therefore the founder of ISIS. Yet Trump loves to take that extra step, going way over the historical record, even way over what people who criticize the Obama administration regard as the historical record. So there's that. Then you brought up Mark Foley. For those who don't remember, Mark Foley was a member of Congress. He resigned in 2006. Why did he resign? Because he admitted, or had to admit, that he had been sending sexually explicit emails and text messages to teenage boys who were at the time, or had been, House pages. That scandal was enormous in 2006. It was a contributing factor in Republicans losing control of their House majority. Now, Foley has been around Florida events with Trump before, but he has never been seated so prominently. Now, this guy is a member of Congress with a scandalous past. That's putting it mildly. And he was sitting right behind Trump during a rally where Trump criticized Hillary Clinton for having Sadiq Mateen, the father of the Orlando mass murderer Omar Mateen, right over her shoulder. So it may be irony, it may be bad planning. It's certainly a garbled message when you're attacking one candidate for having someone unsavory over their shoulder, when you have over your shoulder someone who's also unsavory. All I can tell you, Anne Marie, is every day on this campaign is a brand new day.
I bet. And one of the things that Donald Trump does is often blame the media for misrepresenting his words. And he did it again last night. I want to play a quote.
The system is rigged. And I'll tell you, the biggest rigger of the system is the media. The media is rigged. It's rigged. It's crooked as hell. The media is unbelievably dishonest. I would actually say that the media is almost as crooked Hillary Clinton. I mean that. I mean it.
So, Major, I'm curious, this is sort of a personal question. You've been traveling with the campaign since the very beginning. You can hear the jeers from the audience. How does the audience greet members of the media after hearing something like that? What's it like?
Well, it's interesting. So there's this ritualistic bashing of the media. Trump does it at every single rally. He never fails to do it. And I will say, I've noticed in the last month or so, the crowd gets more revved up, more eager to hear that message, and shouts in our direction, yells at us more aggressively than they have in the last couple of months. That's part of the theatrics of a Trump rally. Even so, I can tell you that before and after Trump rallies, I am routinely greeted by Trump supporters who want to talk to me, who want to pose for selfies with me, sometimes who ask me for my autograph. So I don't know what that says about me or Trump, the media, or the audience, but it is a sort of neck-snapping experience at times.
You know what? I would jump over people to get a selfie with a Major Garrett anytime, any day. Thank you very much, Major.
Back at you, Anne Marie. Back at you. That's all I can say.